And hello, Biohacker Nation. We are back for another wonderful episode. Again, this is Dr. Mike with my partner, as always,
Jim,
the Mad Scientist.
What's going on, guys?
So, as always, we got some awesome information to give out to you guys today. Some things from what people call anti-aging to we just burn a few more calories from, well, eating or sitting around in certain areas. But first, as always, Jim, what would you like to discuss?
I would love to discuss a lot of things, but why don't we do the usual disclaimer?
A good place to start.
We're not here to treat, diagnose, or cure any disease. Just because there's certain education background on this show doesn't mean that this is an excuse for getting advice from a competent physician of yours that you are going to see personally. Second, as we are a 501c3 nonprofit as of right now, we highly, highly, highly encourage you, of course, to become a patron of the show and to everything that we're doing. We want to increase the quality. We want to increase the content. We want to get out there to literally the entire world. In order to do that, we need your support. So go to the biohackhumans.com website, and on the right-hand corner, there's a cool little spot that says, Become a Patron. Click on it. Donate anything you want. A lot of zeros is better, obviously, but we'll also send out some really cool gear to you guys and get you on the show. And even if you want to become a regular or you're a business owner and you want to be shouted out on the show here, have regular advertisements, by all means, we're there. And also, just because we're 501c3 doesn't mean that you should not consult your competent CPA, because they're the experts here, not us, on your taxes. We're not tax advice individuals. So, moving on.
Moving on. So, starting off with antioxidants. Fill them up. Take all the supplements you can, right?
Everyone who checked out our social media was commenting and sending direct messages that honestly took way too much time to go through myself. Saying, of course, take your antioxidants, have your fruits and vegetables, because there's no way that it's going to kill me. I mean, these are things that are supposed to be good for me.
Yeah, too much of a good thing can't be bad.
Of course not. If something's good, have more. If an exercise made you puke, it must be a good one. Do it again. I was listening to a few different podcasts lately, and yeah, believe it or not, just because we have a podcast doesn't mean we don't try to educate ourselves by listening to others, their views, and looking up what they're saying, too, just to verify accuracy.
Everything, yeah.
And I keep hearing about having expensive urine.
Yeah.
Now, if you could sell expensive urine, you might be onto something there. I mean, it kind of comes readily. Go to any bar or nightclub on a Saturday night. I'm sure there's plenty to go around. Just scoop some off the floor. However, having it very expensive, it kind of, let's just put it this way, physiologically speaking, Mike, doesn't the body get rid of stuff that doesn't need?
Correct. If it doesn't have any room or access for it, it gets rid of it as a waste product.
So by taking too much of stuff and getting rid of the stuff, perhaps your body is not needing this stuff.
All comes back to the basic absorption thing, which we talked about, I think, every episode except for the last one. Oh, yeah, if you put too much in your body, we only take so much at a time. That counts for food that we eat, supplements that we take. If our body can't use it, we do get rid of it, which comes into the whole expensive urine thing. Is people pay, hundreds of dollars plus, a month, sometimes a week on supplements.
I've seen somebody spending almost $1,000 a month, seriously, on taking supplements. And it looks like they are, I don't want to get on anybody who's like an AARP, but for some reason when people get to certain ages, their medicine cabinet literally is a medicine cabinet. I mean, it's literally filled with medication, and they're taking 20, 30 medications a day, some medications to counteract side effects of other medications. It's not exactly like your body should be a lab. Unless, of course, you're doing research like we do and trying new legal, healthy supplements and kind of seeing what they do. But, somebody starts getting the sniffles, they think immediately, hey, reach for some vitamin C or reach for some zinc, and everything will be better. But what if your body already has adequate levels of zinc in it, for instance? Why are you continuing to literally poison yourself with What's a metal? I mean, you can get zinc screws at Home Depot. I'm not about to swallow those because I start to get the sniffles. You want to go to Home? Tell you what, next time you get the sniffles, let's go to Home Depot, pick up some zinc
What's
screws.
a cheaper way of getting it? Wouldn't it?
Much cheaper.
Take it to a cheese grater, get down the powder, put it in a capsule.
A lot of times individuals tout a miracle cure. Take a ton of this and you'll be cured. But as we've talked about before, there is no miracle cure.
Yeah, vitamin C is a big one, vitamin A, everyone's big on just super dosing everything. So if it's good for you in small amounts, it must be good for great. But unfortunately, not only sometimes do we just get rid of this expensive urine, so to speak, stuff that we're processing, it can actually cause harm.
Absolutely.
You know, there's a small thing called cancer I try to avoid, but
Good thing
things
to avoid.
with overdosing certain vitamins and minerals, you can get it.
There's actually a study I was reading, I was not reading it in 2007, it was published in 2007, and believe it or not, that over 181,000 subjects that are taking high amounts of antioxidants, they actually increase mortality rate by 5%. Too much beta-carotene actually increased it by 7%. And all you with the vitamin A, extra 16%. Vitamin E, you take too much vitamin E and you only increase your risk of death by 4%.
So if you want to overdose antioxidants for no reason, minimize your chance of dying, just do it with vitamin E.
Absolutely, go for it. 16% more. Knock yourself off quicker. So we've talked about in previous shows, and if you haven't heard about our talking in previous shows about anything, go back and listen to them. And subscribe, and of course tell all your friends and family to subscribe. Cheap little pop there. But our bodies want to remain in a state of homeostasis, which means balance. Perfect balance at all times to regulate itself. So all this extra stress that we put on our bodies throughout the day, our body wants to make it normal. So, what do you think happens when you start to put too much antioxidants in your body?
Going a little off balance, I believe.
I agree.
Actually, quite off balance and cause a few issues. The whole free radical imbalance is really where we're going with this.
Mm-hmm.
So,
even with exercise, we all know when we exercise, and I don't want to beat a dead horse here because most of our viewers, maybe in the next couple of weeks, but listeners already know that exercise dramatically increases free radical production. So people start to think that, I need to overload myself with antioxidants to counter this, so I'm going to take them right after exercise and it'll be all good, right?
yeah, but the whole exercise is kind of a natural thing we're supposed to meant to do. Could there actually be a reason for why we have all these free radicals formed from it?
Perhaps to heal?
No way. So there's a purpose for it. So this is one of those cases that's similar with inflammation. Everyone thinks inflammation is a horrible thing, but it's meant for a small reason, or at least a small amount, for a real purpose.
Absolutely. It's been found in numerous studies now by taking antioxidants after you exercise, you actually negate the effects of the exercise. So you're not getting bigger, stronger, faster, all the stuff that you want to. You're not increasing your healing time any quicker. You're actually reducing all that. You might as well start taking anti-inflammatories right after you exercise as well, while you're at it.
Yeah, don't do that.
No?
No, I'm not going to do that.
Advil and multis right after you work out because you're sore. Unfortunately, so many people do this still, even with all the research out there, which is now more of common knowledge than breaking research.
It's really, if you just hear something from someone, no matter if it's in the gym, if it's Dr. Google, validate what you hear. If you hear things from us, I'll go ahead and I'll sit by with what we say, but take everything for a grain of salt, especially see if it's for something new. We validate everything that we hear. Like Jim talked about, we listen to podcasts. We hear something that's kind of cool, I look it up.
That's usually the good idea, and I want to say I'm a genius. I really do. But the only difference between me and anybody that says that is I looked it up. And that was it. I looked it up, and now I know that information.
Yeah, you read it, you remember it. I think they call that learning.
That's the remembering part. That's the fun part. But the idea of megadosing on pills of antioxidants versus having your fruits and vegetables. Remember, our body's meant to be in homeostasis. Produce has been around since literally the dawn of time. So we have our bodies, the human body, has learned how to utilize these nutrients.
They're in forms that we're already, able to break down. They're in amounts that our bodies are able to absorb. You take one pill of a supplement, I mean, geez, if you put any like vitamin A, they're going to have amounts that are in a couple pounds of produce. It's just not really what we're looking for. So the short of it is, eat your food. I mean, supplements are meant to supplement the diet, not to replace anything.
As opposed to getting on, again, what free radical oxidation is, and going to biochemistry. We kind of did that last week a little bit, touched on it, but I'll put that in the show notes for everybody. So if you want to take another look back at high school chemistry, debatable whether we'll put the photo of the valence electron shells back up there, which was kind of taken for fun, or maybe do a new photo. It's a little mosaic, which is pretty good for any of those that may have read a previous article on this. Let's talk a little about vitamin C while we're at it. Let's just hit on a few of the big popular stuff. So vitamin C, for a long time, people say treats the common cold, and claims. Unfortunately, you can claim anything in the supplement industry. You can take...
I claim it works. I was told by somebody.
Absolutely. Yeah. It cures, hunger, whatever. Vitamin C doesn't really reduce the onset or the time of the rhinovirus or coronavirus, which is the common cold. Mega doses would have to be taken on this. I mean, absolute mega doses, up to 100 grams. Not milligrams, grams.
I'm talking no gastric side effects from this, right?
None.
Stay by the toilet.
But in reality, our body only absorbs 250 milligrams per day. So if we want to start taking all these mega doses, what are you doing other than increasing the value of your urine? 250 milligrams a day. So take 10 to 100 grams a day if you want, but your body's only taking in 250 milligrams.
You're just recycling it back out to Mother Nature, is really what it comes down to the point. There are certain cases where you need a little bit more or less. I mean, again, exercise is not one of those reasons, but if you're a smoker, that's one of the big ways people are in need a little bit more. Again, though this is not super dosing, this is daily stuff. It's best just to get from your food.
Absolutely. So a lot of people say vitamin C, for instance, is the miracle cure. There's no side effects other than possibly gastric distress. There's been some very poor studies done on taking mega doses during pregnancy. Baby turned out fine, thank goodness. But the body is not absorbing all of it. So really, at the end of the day, there's no point. It sounds good, and it would be great, and in a Petri dish it might work, but the inside of our bodies work different than a Petri dish.
It's actually a big point to bring on with a lot of studies, not just nutrition, but in general. A lot of them do just go in Petri dishes. So, I mean, that has nothing to do with what it's like in our bodies with all the enzymes, everything breaking down. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these studies, they look great because they have a little Petri dish of, let's say, a cell or bacteria. You drop some vitamin A on it, and look what changed. Doesn't mean that happens in our bodies, and that's a big difference in these studies.
I mean, even taking beta-carotene, which is the best way to get your vitamin A, in mega doses, however, it looks like it actually increases your rate of cancer instead of decreasing it.
Again, I'm a fan of trying to avoid that.
Yeah, anything greater than 8 milligrams a day, and that's not a ton.
It's not much.
So just a dabble do you, and get you healthier. So let's look at a few other things, if you would, that are touted as some miracle antioxidants, such as lycopene.
I love lycopene.
Love it on my pizza, especially that cauliflower pizza that Chante made that I cannot replicate for some reason. Try as I may, it turns into some pizza bowl, which is barely edible. So hopefully she doesn't have to go out of town on business anymore and can help out a little bit with that.
Yeah, don't go over on days you cook.
I will cook the Quest cookies up for her, and she can cook up this awesome cauliflower pizza.
Yeah, so lycopene. It will hinted slightly, but it's really in tomatoes, especially cooked tomatoes.
Absolutely.
I really only cook tomatoes. Just don't really break them down as well. Back to the whole absorption thing.
That's what it is, and lowers the risk of prostate cancer 23%, which is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I try to keep my prostate healthy. Don't want to turn on me.
Lutein, zeaxanthin. I can never get that word right. It's like saying zygopophyseal.
Yeah. How's it like that? You're able to do that one?
4+ years of saying it, saying it slow. Taking these help with cataract formation, 20% reduction. But again, you want to keep it, 18 milligrams, 11 milligrams
So avoid the supplements.
So pretty much just eat your greens.
Produce.
Yeah, eat your greens.
Dark greens, fantastic.
Flavonoids, phenomenal. I love that word, flavonoids, because it's in dark chocolate, everybody. Green, black teas, red wines, lowers blood pressures, inhibits inflammation, cancer growth, protects against the chiropractor's favorite stuff of the neurodegeneration. We don't want it to neurodegenerate, so we want to
comment on that. Yeah.
eat your dark chocolate, eat your cacao. No sugar. I'm not talking about, having a Hershey bar with milk chocolate and sugar. I'm just talking about...
If you're not used to it, it's going to be bitter, but trust me, it's delicious. 100% cacao.
One of the crazy things is Japan.
Yeah,
they smoke a lot in Japan.
A lot.
And it has one of the highest rates of cigarette smoking, yet they have such a low incidence of lung cancer and cardiovascular disease. So why is it people can smoke like a chimney in other places, like the United States, and...
Hint, it's not because they take a lot of supplements.
No,
it's really what they're drinking. A bunch of good tea.
Right. A lot of catechins, the flavonoids. People in Japan average 5 cups of green tea per day. It's not taking the EGCG like here in America. We're trying to take one little pill that's literally going to poison your liver as much as it sounds like such a miracle little pill, which is green tea extract, everybody. So you got to actually spread it out in actual green tea, 5 cups per day, and you know what I know people are going to do?
What's that, Jim?
They're going to take up smoking. They're going to start saying, let's start smoking. All they have to do is start drinking 5 cups of green tea a day. They're going to start drinking green tea a day and start smoking. This is not a good idea. So
you just convinced me. I'm going to go buy some cigarettes.
Phenomenal idea.
With me.
Phenomenal idea. Wow. This podcast just went in the wrong direction. You know what? Selenium. I'm moving on.
Moving on to selenium. Mushrooms.
It's a fad.
Yep.
It's said to be such a huge moon booster, and it's seen in so many. It's seen in so many supplements everywhere. It is a well-noted antioxidant aging mineral, so I'm not going to shoot down on that. However, it's all right. Let me break it down here. The United States, your levels most likely are just fine. But in other countries, such as the UK, it's appear to be deficient. On average, not everybody. So if you're already getting enough in your diet, then by having too much, probably going to kill you off a little earlier, just saying.
Back to old vitamin A syndrome.
Exactly. More is not necessarily better. I mean, selenium is such a double-edged sword here, because too little or too much could increase type 2 diabetes and even cancer. So if you're in the United States, all that's really necessary is getting 60 micro, not milli, but micrograms to 100 micrograms a day, and you'll have optimal health and prevent cancer, hopefully. You start to get too much of this, it's not necessarily all the sugar you're eating. This may help increase all that sugar that you're eating, become a full-fledged diabetic. Not always a positive thing, ever. So, some countries you're already getting in your diet. No need to start macro dosing with it.
So next one's actually a big one. A lot of people superdose as well as vitamin D.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, everyone knows you go out there, you get the sun, you should get most of it. However, that's just not the way it works anymore, especially if you're up in the more northern areas.
Right.
But
so with vitamin D, if you're living near the equator, most likely you're good. As Dr. Mike just said, when you're up in the Northeast, summertime, you go outside 20 minutes or so, and you're good for the day. But when it comes to wintertime, you're inside all the time, and you're not getting the strong rays of the sun like you are in the summertime, whereas the equator, you're pretty much getting it 24/7, 365. Vitamin D, it helps with bones, helps decrease risks of osteoporosis, minimizes fractures, reduces cancer, heart disease, diabetes.
Actually, some things showing it helps with the flu. It's good stuff.
Absolutely. Even preeclampsia and rheumatoid. Big deal. Ones. And, of course, the SAD, seasonal affective disorders, where people become depressed, typically in the fall to early spring when they're just not outside or experiencing the sun. So a little bit of vitamin D does help. However, there's too much that can be had, too. Optimal dosing actually appears to be somewhere between 20 nanograms per milliliter and 30 nanograms per milliliter. So everyone get your chemistry sets out when you're measuring up here. Research on vitamin D, though, is young. So what we're saying here, there's a lot of research that still needs to be done, but this is the best evidence that we have at the time.
big growing field. It's exciting, but again, everything is at its infancy.
Right.
So find out what we can find is the best, and we go with it until we find something better.
We're sticking here with mortality rate because, I mean, everyone has different goals. Personally, my goal is to live to 120 to 150 would be great, but healthy, happy, and vibrant, and not crippled on medications. So if I can live a long time, which I think a lot of people who are happy would like to, let's do it. So anyone with under the levels we're talking about, 20 nanograms per milliliter, have a higher mortality rate than those with 30 nanograms. Though, those, going to twist everyone's mind around, levels greater than 24 nanograms have mortality rates that begin to arise once again. So we're starting to find a little range here. If you want to just megadose and get your levels up to 50 nanograms per milliliter, really there's no extra health benefits even than those who are between the levels of 24 and 30 nanograms per milliliter. So really it's coming around to stay around 24 nanograms per milliliter.
So more research saying you probably don't need to superdose something.
No need to superdose unless you're deficient, then of course you...
It's short term to get it back up to levels, and then you go back to standard.
And I'd love to figure out why in the world are you so low in the first place? I mean... It's great I can take a supplement or go outside or get some kind of UV therapy, but why do they go back down? Because chances are once they get them back up, they're going to go back down again.
Yeah, always good to try to find the cause, not just hide the symptom.
Absolutely. Our country here, it's been known forever. We suffer from the biggest disease going called fads. There are so many freaking food experts that have been around since forever. Snake oil salesmen telling you everything, what you need to do, buy this, it's a miracle cure, and people jump at it.
Though everything shows, not shown by FDA for any purposes.
Well, don't even get me started with that one.
I was hoping to bite you. All right, continue.
So, spend your money on what you want, everybody. Biohacker Nation, whatever you want to spend your money on after you make your 10% tithe for the year, hopefully to become a patron here, which we would greatly appreciate. I love these little shots.
Hey, self-promote. Got to do it. Please and thank you.
Have the most expensive urine possible and increase your mortality. Die earlier by having expensive urine that you're not selling and donating to us. Or save your money and increase your lifespan.
To justify the way you said that, we're not looking for urine donations.
No.
Just to clarify the phraseology.
That could have went that way, couldn't it?
Yes. Please do not send us that.
So,
but they might get an interesting shout out if they do.
They would get a very interesting shout out. I would be...
Be what?
I would be
urinated.
Pissed off.
There you
How's
go.
that? Let's talk a little bit about brown fat.
Sure. What's that?
I have no idea. No, seriously, I do.
So,
but
when people think of fat, everyone, they get worried right away. Like, I don't want any fat. You're thinking of your standard, we're going to call it white adipose tissue. It's the fat, collects around, it's
the big
ugly
bellies.
stuff, to be honest, the butts, the stomachs, everything that we don't want. This stuff is not good. It's pro-inflammatory.
Go to McDonald's on a lunch hour, Walmart on a Friday night.
It'll be everywhere. But there's this other type of fat called brown adipose tissue. We're just going to call it BAT.
I like
because it's
BAT.
easy.
Batman.
Yeah, we're not doing that one. So, that is brown adipose tissue. What makes it different? Why is it brown instead of white?
Got to be a reason to it, right?
Yeah. Why do we have it? We have a little amounts. The most you end up seeing, like in infants or any mammals that are supposed to be out in the cold, or even just humans, we have more of it when we're in the cold temperatures, which we'll get to in a minute. But the main purpose of this BAT is it's thermogenic. It's pretty much we burn off the calories for heat.
Mm-hmm. That's got to be a good thing. Burning calories for heat must mean that we... Whoa. So does that mean, like, if I have more brown fat, I have a thought? I'm about to let it go.
Yours?
No.
So anyway.
So if I have a brown fat as opposed to white fat, and you're saying it's more thermogenic, so I'm burning more, does that mean that I'm most likely going to have a better physique, perhaps?
More likely, yes. This is one of the big theories people think. Everyone knows one of those damn guys that, they can eat, as you said, let's say 8 McDonald's burgers, and they're still, 140 pounds, super thin. The theory is they have a lot more brown fat on them to help just burn that stuff off right away. But something that's kind of cool about it is there seems to be some ways that you can actually increase your own brown fat. So you can increase your own metabolism, make it, stay hotter longer.
So, other than going to, say, UPS and wrapping myself in all the brown paper and driving a brown truck and just being brown, all right, put it on me. How would I do it?
Multiple ways. First, easy one. Go sit in the snow or in an igloo. Take you about 10 minutes. Once you're in a lot of cold, it
Hold on,
starts to
this
change.
sounds too good to be true. Can I do it naked?
It's internally, it's probably best to do naked, but worry about the whole frostbite thing.
So
I'd
I
be
have an
concerned.
excuse
Take your
for
excuse
naked
to
nor'easter. I love it. I'm gonna get
Getting
naked to get
thinner, more calories burned.
I love it.
No, really, there's been a lot of studies shown, they were mostly through submersion studies, but when people are colder climates, they call it non-shivering thermogenesis. So I've heard a lot of geniuses tell me that the reasons why people in the north have a higher metabolism, because they've shown it, is because they shiver more. Because you know how active of a motion shivering is, that you do it for the whole 2 or 3 minutes until it stops. Hint, that is not what's burning more calories.
Really? Duh.
It takes more effort to walk over to close the door than it does to shiver for a few minutes. That is a local effect just to help the body move.
What about all those units that you see on the infomercials, like at 2 in.? You wrap around your belly, kind of start making it pulsate.
Oh, the stuff they debunked back in the 40s and 50s.
Then they take off, and all of a sudden you got this six-pack abs.
Yeah.
Not working, is it?
No, that's wonderful Hollywoodism. It doesn't work. But there are other ways than just freezing yourself out in the cold, though. Preference is preference.
Preference is preference.
I mean,
I'm gonna stick with that.
Something I like. I like spicy food. I'm going to ruin this one. Capsaicin.
Let's just put hot sauce in everything. It's so much better that way.
It really is. So you can get a higher metabolism from eating hot sauce. Is really what it comes down to. Is these hot peppers, cayenne, chili, Tabasco has a bunch of this, the ingredients in it. It does seem to help increase the amount of brown fat that we have. Again, so I would much rather have brown fat that is just burning off as heat as opposed to the pro-inflammatory white stuff that just, look in the mirror and know.
So biohack this. Get in a ice bath while eating a keto taco with hot sauce all over it.
Yeah, if you throw in some ginger tea, because ginger also seems to increase it a little bit.
Sounds like a night. Sounds like a good night.
The other little thing that they show is arginine, which is, I don't know, it's always been my favorite amino acids.
It's non-essential, so it's got to be favorite, right?
It's got to be a favorite. Is that these studies are a little early still. This is mostly on rat studies, which we go on a few times, I believe, about how it's great. We're not rats, but this is the best we have right now. It does look kind of promising as they continue. But it looks like arginine not only helps increase BAT, but it actually decreases the white ugly stuff.
Sounds like a plus. I'm liking it so far.
I really like arginine even more. So, there's a lot of food supplies you can get from it. Pork, turkey are the big ones, pumpkin seeds.
How about getting all jacked up on some epinephrine, norepinephrine?
Let's take a little EpiPen that you get from having my shellfish allergies and slam it in a leg. Make me healthier and lose some weight, right?
It's got to help increase BAT a little bit, right?
It does. There's a big things that it's showing is that it's actually part of how arginine helps it, is that arginine helps release more catecholamines, with norepinephrine being one of them. And it seems to be one of the mechanisms that helps to increase the brown fat that comes is from having the natural increase in norepinephrine. I read one study that theorized it actually being about stress, because when people get stressed, they end up releasing more. But that kind of counteracts with how a lot of other parts in the system decrease as they end up being stressed. So that part with increasing norepinephrine probably isn't going to be the most beneficial. But I also wouldn't just go take the needle and shove it in the leg either.
I'm not liking the needles, personally. That's just my thing. The foods.
What you got there?
I'm just thinking about some foods here.
Of course you are.
That
I
might
love
be
thinking
able
about
to-
food.
Tomatoes, perhaps. Avocados.
Love me avocados.
A little spinach, little Brussels sprouts. Why don't kids like Brussels sprouts? They taste so good. Some of these may actually help elevate levels of norepinephrine. At least help nourish your adrenals and some other organs to help produce them.
It just goes back to eating your produce, which we kind of hit up relatively heavily earlier.
Mm-hmm. A little turmeric goes with your curcumin levels. Once it crosses the blood-brain barrier, that's becoming a phenomenal substance. It's antioxidant, it's anti-inflammatory, it's anti-everything except for anti-good for you. It's really good for you.
And just to touch on that, though, that is with turmeric, not curcumin-specific supplements.
Right.
At least all the research I've read, with especially a big thing I was looking up for was Alzheimer's, is they do it with curcumin, which is one of the ingredients in turmeric. They look at it because it's got to be it's one there's the most. It must be what's doing everything. everything else is in the food for a reason. So it's turmeric will help all this, even though they credit most of it to curcumin.
So pretty much
Eat the whole herb.
eat the whole herb in Biohacker Nation. Hopefully we got the right audience now that's actually serious about themselves and increasing vitality and longevity. And they're not going to be looking for diets and drugs and fads to lose weight if they need to or perform better when they want to.
We'll be talking to you guys with our 100th episode as well as our 100th year anniversary. It'd be great to have the same listeners as well as us around here still getting
I
it.
love that. So instead of going with all these fads, in this case here, we're saying keep it simple, eat your way to a healthier fat accumulation, healthier you. Pack on that brown fat.
You won't really see it, so pack it on as much as you want.
Pack it on as much as you want, yeah. So we're getting pretty functionized, aren't we?
Very functional.
Everything we're doing is getting functionized.
Losing some weight by eating food, sitting out naked in the cold, or in the cold tub. For those that are more modest.
Well, Biohacker Nation here, we want to say thank you as always. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. Get all your friends and family, take their phones, take their computers.
Subscription party. Bring them over.
Great idea,
Put
subscription
a big
party.
game and throw all the cell phones in the center of the table and just start clicking the buttons.
It's free. We've kept it free for a reason because we want everybody to get this vital information. Hopefully have a little bit of entertainment to and from work or just sitting around having a good time. And to...
If you learn something from it, it's even better.
Absolutely. And we always are appreciative of those who leave 5-star reviews. So please get on, leave a 5-star review, give you a shout out, and direct message us.
Yeah, ask us questions.
Ask us every question you want. And if you have enough interest, we'll have you on the air. And to ask your question right there, we'll be more than happy to answer it live for you.
Yeah, we love meeting people, and it'd be a lot of fun just to have everyone here on the show.
Absolutely. So, feeling functionized?
Fully
Biohacker night.
functionized.
Let's functionize out. Biohacker Nation, thank you as always.
Chat again next week.
We're out.
Bye.